Hello again, everyone. I have another deck list for you today. Now, again, I had gotten asked for some Hick deck lists, and I have Unity version. Of course, I know some people really do enjoy Unity Hit quite a bit. It's a cool deck, it's fun. I think there's a couple different card choices that you can definitely make than I have that would, just kind of change what it's like. Whether you want to go more into like energy tax, you want to lean more into blue decapitation and go less energy tax. If you want to play Unleashed in there, more allies, all sorts of things here. But I have a list here. We can run through it. The whole point of the deck is essentially you're going to be trying to search out blocking allies with Unity Mastery. You can use Champa as well. So you have like three different big allies that you're going to be using: Botomo, Magneta, or Megeta, and Champa. Always can use them. There's only really two allies in my build here that you're going to have to use the power actively on to use, which is going to be Jace and Raditz. Jace for some Slime Anger to potentially get you to level 2 and be an extra attack, so you get some more benefit out of like things like Support Fire. And then Raditz just to build up board state. Of course, being a really common thing, Unity villain, every pretty much Unity villain deck should be running Raditz just for the fact that you can go tutor like a blue battle readiness and instantly go drop two allies on the table. It's really absurd and kind of silly. Good combo. It's great. It's just a staple bread and butter thing if you're going to be playing this mastery. The same thing with like having Champa as a utility ally to go grab as well. We have a Super Shenron in here. We have a Shisami as just another way to kind of modify our damage, and that will be really much rounding out the allies. It's kind of a little bit of a different way to look at it, but with a Unity deck, most important thing is going to be your allies that you choose. My other board cards are going to be two blue battle readiness. You could run three of this. I'm opting to run two to make room for some other cards. That's the best I really got for you. I like two blue save. This is to combo with Champa and Raditz. So what's cool about Raditz is you can always play him from your hand and put him back into play if you want to. So if you choose him to bounce to your hand, for example, Champa wants you to have allies in your hand, potentially dig into your deck and not have to discard two cards. So there's synergy with that. And then, of course, it also is going to go get you a blue battle readiness or anything else that you want out of your deck as well there. So it's a really good card. You don't really see this card played a ton, but I think, especially in a deck that has Champa in it, I think it's worth a consideration. And Raditz, obviously, too, both having great synergy. Raditz, you can even play from your hand to go rejuve something to potentially search with something else. So that's always very nice as well. So there is a blue Sage Pose at a 1. This card is limit 1, has been for a while. Very strong card. I have one Lifting Drill in my build. What's really nice about this card is if you draw into it in combat, you can just pitch it out of your hand with hits level 1 and you get it in play. So I like it. It's an extra life card on everything, and it also is a little extra anti-anger. I would love to run 2 if I had the space, but there's other stuff that, like I said, I'm trying to experiment with and put in. So there's just a lot of attacks, honestly, in this list. But I think what we got 6 board cards here, plus the 7 allies, so 13 board cards. Any of them can become a block with a level 1. So and most of these cards can be tutored out pretty easily with the mastery, and then, these cards get tutored out by Raditz, so, or by Blue Save. So again, really a lot of ways to mitigate dead draws, to thin the deck out, to filter the deck. Something to keep in mind when you play a lot of these tutor-heavy decks is that you will run cards. You'll be running through your deck a lot quicker, so you're gonna be thinning your deck out to see exactly what you want. So. I opted to go 3 Sphere. My choice. I don't necessarily need to protect my events, but I really want to make sure my opponents can't level. I don't want them to have. I'm not running Unleashed myself, so I want to be able to shut down Unleashed because I'm not going to be able to counter Unleashed. I want to protect my hand from stare downs and confrontations, and that's the big stuff there. I have 3 time skip, obviously staple, really nice. Again, even if I dead draw a lot of these cards, I can always pitch them with a number of things, whether it's Champa, it's hit level 1, whatever it be that I need to. So that's always really nice. We have 3 blue fear, another way to filter out my hand if I dead draw, but also it is a discard effect card that gives me 2 anger. So if I want to potentially slime a level up, I can do a 4 anger thing when I do the level 1 here to discard it and pop the instant here. So pretty strong. 2 blue protection. It's just got a lot of endurance. In my experience playing against this card and with this card, I don't really get its effect off super often, but again, just another way to to filter that hand out. The big thing I like about it is mostly the 4 endurance. Otherwise, I probably think I have enough filtering. But again, we're just really trying to make sure that we always have a good combat hand and we can always maneuver. So that runs out the events as far as the attacks go. 3 head knock, staple, 3 arrest, very pretty much staple for every Unity deck. And blue teamwork, 3, again, it's just like one of the only cards that gives anger in the deck, but it can potentially let us hit level 2. You do have to have desperation to get the remain on it, but it's pretty easy again to kind of get cards out of your hand. So blue betrayal, I still think blue betrayal is worth running at a 2. I do run blue deletion as an energy, but just having more board options. I don't have any allies that really touch board, so, and my stack doesn't either, my MP stack. So I still think having 2 betrayal, even if I'm not running decap, just for the extra board hate is going to be really, really nice. And again, if it sucks and I don't need to clear any board, I can always pitch it out of my hand with something. So 3 flash, fist, crush. Again, even if I dead draw, if I see one of these and I land one of these, I get out of bad combat. So pretty nice. We have 3 support fire. Now I'm not running Unleash like I said, but drawing, having 3 of these in the deck is all you need. Really good card. Most of my allies can use their powers and make actions regardless. May use this MP's power, but you may use this power regardless. So they can use their powers regardless, but I can always use the mastery to just designate my ally, and do a bunch of fun stuff with support fire. So a really good card. Like I said, deletion is blue betrayal, but or orange stare down, but for blue. Arm blast at 3, just for the flexibility. If honestly, with all the blocking allies and the blocks that I have, I'm running kind of light on blocks, but like I think I can get away with it with all the allies and all the fun that stuff. But I just like the flexibility of this card being, so that's why I like it as a 3 of. I just want to make sure that I always have attacks to be able to trigger my mastery, to put pressure on my opponent. So 3 neck beam because I don't run Unleashed and I don't want to run takedown. I don't want to run knee in my build. I can see an argument for running blue takedown, but if I was going to run blue takedown, I'd probably be cutting energies out of my deck to make room for blue decapitation, which is again something that you're totally right to do. If you were to do that, I would probably take out arm blast as well and probably this lunar ray just to kind of focus more on physicals, but that's just like my choice. It does have a discard effect for what that's worth. Not always going to be relevant, but something to consider. So, but just a nice card overall that that your opponent kind of has to think about sometimes. Blue clash, ally grab egg, 1 lunar ray. I think it's good as a 1. I don't think this card's quite good as a 2 because it only searches the pile. So, but it's still a pretty good card, still pretty playable. And then overpowering attack at 1. 2 blocks, other than the arm blast. You can always run more. I mean, we do, the big thing is like we have 3 time skip, we have 2 protection, we have time. We have 3 arm blast, 2 snare, and 2 narrow escape. So all of those cards, that's what, 4, 7, 10, 13 blocks on top of the fact that I have 2 allies that I can sit on the board that block all attacks. Or not all attacks, but can block attacks. Plus I have allies to soak up stage damage. So, and then I also have a block on my level 1 if I really need it. So there's like a ton of defensiveness in the deck that you could even potentially trim down some of the block count. Like again, arm blast would probably be where I would trim first. I'd probably leave these dedicated ones. Snare's just like so good against Unleashed being in the meta, and narrow escape is just narrow escape. We run a decent amount of energy, so getting some recursion of some of these cards, especially things like neck beam, deletion, even clash to a degree, are all really powerful. So we don't. It does combo, of course, too with your drawing ability with Champa, so that's another reason to potentially run this at 3. But because it's situational, something to think about. Blue Blanketed Blast is another card. If you find that you don't really need the Arm Blast, I could see a Blanketed Blast going in at a 2 to a 3, just because you do have Champa, really easy access to Champa to set up the draw with the Blanketed Blast and then draw into it. So those are just like kind of potential ways. And again, if you want to move away from energies entirely, move more to blue decapitation, you can slot in things like blue slide, blue slash would be my thoughts. And then you don't have to worry about stages at all. Then you can be kind of extra insulated against stage beats. But having, I think, more of a 50-50 breakdown kind of keeps your opponent guessing. And yeah, you just kind of get to like play almost like Brohan in the early sets where you just have all these allies that can block and you're kind of hard to hit. The biggest thing is like you don't really have critical damage, but you can achieve it through certain effects. Like you could always try to slot in like a blue static blast, for example, or like a Android efficiency drill even or something, just to make sure that your stuff's always critting. But you know, you do have some ways to get some mods. There are other cards you could run. You could run Sorbet if you want to. If you want to run another ally in here, I don't really think any of these allies should leave the deck. If you were to change it. But like I said, I could see running more allies. I could see Blue Slave just being dropped because it's cute. I could see Lifting Drill dropped. But I just do like their effects, and I think they're worth considering and seeing if you like them. They're kind of harmless at 2-ofs, especially when you can tutor them. So definitely something you can play with numbers. I think if you don't like the Blue Fear, there's an argument for that. If you want stare downs over spheres, all that fun stuff. But yeah, you want to keep the style attack count pretty high if you can help it. That way you can always just try to guarantee you get at least one ally early. And not much more to say than that. So I know other people have been playing Unity hits. I'm sure if you play the game here, you might see some people out there running different lists. Just kind of take in the notes and try to figure out like what you like about it, what attacks seem to underperform for you or don't work to your play style, and go from there. So anyway, guys, take it easy. Peace.